Snow skated along First Avenue as the hospital doors breathed antiseptic warmth into Daniel Cole's face. He had flown without luggage, only the super's message looping in his head. Ambulance took Ethan. Looked bad. He rubbed his thawing hands, joints aching from winter work. A curtain hung half open 2 bays in. Ethan lay on the narrow bed, threaded into a vein, a pulse ox glowing red. He wasn't asleep, he had the stillness of someone who'd run out of arguments with his body. "Mr. Cole," the nurse asked, voice kind. "Your son fainted in a grocery line. Severe dehydration and stress. We're keeping him for fluids and evaluation. Are you the emergency contact?" "I am now," Daniel said. She hesitated. "The card on file didn't go through for intake, but we won't hold discharge for it." Daniel signed where she pointed, birth date, allergies, signatures. "You shouldn't have come," Ethan whispered, shame thinning his voice. "And missed the gourmet jello?" Daniel tried for lightness, it barely rose. Ethan's phone lit face down, brightening the sheet's edge. A notification climbed the glass then slid away. Daniel didn't reach. He listened to Ward's small machinery, the distant beep, the roll of a cart. He texted Mia, "He's at New York Presbyterian. Observation overnight. Come now." Typing dots appeared, vanished. Nothing. Daniel tucked the phone like a folded doubt. He thought of a lunch 2 years ago, the wedding invoice that multiplied by the hour, the moment he'd added Mia as an authorized user to the company Amex for emergencies. Later the charges wore cheerful labels: content shoot, brand lunch, teen brunch. He had asked once if brunch could be urgent. Ethan said it was complicated. Daniel let it go. The nurse lowered the light. "Labs again at 1. "He's stable," she said, then, softer, "He looks like someone who apologizes for being tired." He counted Ethan's breaths. At 11:23 Ethan drifted. Daniel refused to. Another notification ghosted under the blanket's edge. He caught only one word before it died: spa. He didn't move. If there was a story to that word, it could wait until his son's chest rose easier. When the nurse returned with a fresh bag of fluids, Daniel signed the intake deposit with his personal card. "We'll switch the contact to me," he said, hearing the decision land inside him like a beam onto anchors. Midnight combed the snow finer. Daniel sent one last message to Mia: "He asked for you." The dots never came. He opened his banking app and looked at the list of authorized users without touching a button. Across the bed, Ethan turned and winced. Daniel steadied the blanket's edge, the smallest repair. He would wait. He would pay. He would remember the single word he had seen and the silence that followed it. Morning would bring explanations, or it wouldn't. Either way, he would answer in the language he trusted: quiet, deliberate fixes that looked, from the outside, like mercy. The ward lights dimmed to blue. Daniel fought the drift from warmed air and machine hum. Ethan shifted, winced, then croaked, "Water?" The nurse helped him sip, noted a reading, and left them to the beeps. Ethan's phone buzzed. He squinted. "Dad, can you silence it?" "Left side." Daniel slid the phone out. The lock screen stacked notifications: Isla Blue Spa, your treatment begins at 11:45 p.m., Instagram, Mia and Steam, girls' night, midnight mineral wrap for the win. Another text hovered: "Don't make me look bad by needing me tonight." He didn't open anything. He tapped Do Not Disturb and set the phone on the tray. Across town, Isla Blue glowed under frosted glass. Eucalyptus hung in the air. Mia lounged in a robe, 2 friends flanked her, champagne stems sweating. Lila eyed the phone. "You're really not going? To the hospital?" Mia's smile was thin. "He faints when he's stressed. He'll be fine. If I drop tonight, I lose my slot. And Monday is the review. I want everything clean." "Review for what?" the other friend asked. "Policy stuff," Mia said, checking her reflection. "Signatures. Bring ID. Routine." "Routine doesn't need champagne," Lila murmured. Routine needs calm, Mia said, raising her glass. At the hospital, Daniel stood to unknot his back. The Amex portal lived in his muscle memory. He didn't log in. Not yet. He stepped into the corridor and dialed a number he hadn't used in years. Isla Blue Security, a voice answered. Lou? It's Dan Cole. What do you need, Dan? I might have a problem on a card tied to my company, Daniel said evenly. An authorized user is at your place tonight. If payment gets messy, please hold the receipt and loop me in before anyone leaves. Name? Mia Cole. A low whistle. Private suite. I can't break rules, but I can make checkout thorough. That's all I'm asking. Daniel returned to the bay and watched his son breathe. He thought of the wedding that cost twice what it should, the dinners he'd pretended not to see, the way Ethan apologized to waiters for nothing. Patience felt like cowardice. He made a different decision. He cued a password reset to the Amex admin inbox. Do nothing until midnight, he warned himself. It wasn't rage, it was sequence. The phone on the tray pulsed. A calendar alert flashed before the screen dimmed. Monday 11 o'clock, Tri-Atlantic Review, bring ID. The words felt like a draft under a door. Review of what? He pushed the question down. At Isla Blue, an attendant called, Mia? Ready for the wrap. Mia stood. Charge it to the Amex ending in 0331, she said. On file, the attendant replied. In the hospital, Daniel tucked Ethan's phone into the hoodie pocket, then checked the time. 11:46, snow hissed at the window. He texted me again, he asked for you by name. Delivered. Nothing more. He sat. He waited. Slow. He counted the seconds to midnight like screws biting into wood, each one tightening the future in place. Time gathered in the blue hush of the ward. 11:57 p.m. Daniel watched the second hand chew the margin between patience and action. Ethan slept shallowly, the Ford drip making its soft metronome. He opened the Amex admin on his phone. Authorized users, Mia Cole, active. He hovered. Breathed. Clicked suspend. The prompt asked, reason? He typed, suspected misuse, account audit pending. A final tap. The card fell silent in the system. Lou texted, heads up, she's finishing up. Check out in 10. Daniel, hold receipts. If payment fails, call me. Don't escalate, just slow the room down. He set real-time alerts, any attempt by that user, any digital token, any virtual number. Another menu let him revoke wallets. He toggled remove from Apple Pay/Google Pay. A nurse rolled past with a cart. He's holding steady, she whispered. We'll recheck his blood sugar at 1. Thank you, Daniel said. 11:59, he called the bank tied to joint household card, a line he wasn't on but which linked back to transactions he could document through his business. He described dates, merchants, overlapping company expenses, asked that midnight transactions be verified manually. The rep said, we can place a temporary review. If she taps, it may stall. That's all I need. Midnight tipped. Snow tapped the window like knuckles. Daniel exhaled and closed the portal. He felt like a man turning off water to a house with a burst pipe, necessary, controlled. Across town, Isla Blue's checkout lounge glowed warm. Mia walked up with a towel turreted on her head. Charge my wrap and add gratuity, same card, she said. The attendant tapped, waited, frowned. Tapped again. I'm sorry, it's declining. Mia's laugh was automatic. Run it again. Back at the hospital, Daniel's phone buzzed, alert, attempted charge, Isla Blue Spa, declined. Another, digital wallet token revoked. Another, manual verification required, joint card on file. He stayed seated and watched Ethan sleep. Lou called. She's sweet as citrus until it sours. Want me to comp this to avoid a scene? No, Daniel said. Tonight, scenes are data. Keep it professional. Ethan stirred. Dad, he rasped. I'm here. Did you fix something? I turned off a few switches, Daniel said. Ethan swallowed. Okay. Daniel's gaze drifted to the hoodie pocket, where the calendar reminder slept. Monday 11 o'clock, Tri-Atlantic Review, bring ID. He hadn't asked yet. Wouldn't, not while tubes and monitors translated his son. Lou texted again, 2 suits at the desk. Insurance, I think. Been around before. Want me to keep them near? Daniel read it twice. How long have they been asking questions? Week or 2. About applications and signatures. Daniel looked at ceiling tile grid, how each square fits into the next. He settled deeper into the chair and set his phone face down. Sequence, he told himself. First, keep him safe. Then, light every room. At 12:07 a.m., the spa's checkout lounge hummed soft and citrus-scented. Mia stepped to the counter wrapped in a white robe, towel peaked like a crown. Charge the wrap, she said, sliding a smile across the desk. Same Amex. The attendant tapped. A friendly chime became a frown. She tried again. Declined. Again. Declined. The word landed like a gavel each time, pleasant font, unforgiving meaning. Run it manual, Mia said, tone crisp, the way she ordered coffee. We did, the attendant answered, voice small. It's locked. Mia lifted her phone, thumb to the side button. Apple Pay. She leaned and tapped. Token not available. She blinked as if a teleprompter had skipped a line. Behind her, the eucalyptus steam made everything look softer than it felt. Lila approached, robe belted. I can spot. No, Mia cut in, eyes still on the terminal. My husband's father is dramatic. He thinks turning off cards is parenting. There was a movement at the glass door, Lou, shoulders filling the frame, 2 people in plain suits at his flank. He nodded to the attendant, then to Mia, as if greeting a contractor and a client at once. Ms. Cole, the woman in a suit said, flipping an ID. Angela Patel, Special Investigations, Tri-Atlantic. We've been trying to reach you about a policy application. Could we confirm your ID? Mia's smile reappeared, thinner. At midnight? This is ridiculous. Send an email. It's midnight because we couldn't find you, Angela replied gently. And because there's a review scheduled Monday at 11. We'd like to clarify some items before then, signatures, disclosures. Should take a moment. Mia's throat worked. This is harassment. I'll have my lawyer. Of course. You can call, Angela said. But first, the matter of your bill. Lou's voice held the room like a level placed on a wall. We can't release a guest with an unresolved payment. House policy. Mia tapped her rideshare app instead. Add card. No valid payment method. She jabbed, faster now, as if force could make money. Her friends drifted toward the hallway, suddenly fascinated by their phones, measuring distance from Splash. The scream came quietly at first, hot air forced through clenched teeth, then wider, a sound that dragged heads out of steam and toward the desk. Not fear, insult. Something that said who dares. Across town, Daniel's phone buzzed on the tray table beside a paper cup of coffee gone cold. Alert, Isla Blue, declined. A second buzz. Digital wallet removed. Then Lou called. We've got her attention, Lou said, voice even. Keep it professional, Daniel answered. If she wants to talk, let her talk to them. He stared at the blue monitor wash over Ethan's face. No scenes for the sake of scenes. In the spa, Angela slid a form across the counter. You listed a beneficiary change on your husband's policy. Routine to verify identity before Monday. Mia didn't touch the paper. You people act like we're scammers because we like nice things. The robe's belt had loosened, she retied it with sharp movements, the knot like a little fist. Not at all, Angela said. We act like investigators because signatures don't match. That sentence knocked a millimeter of air out of Mia. She steadied herself on the counter. I'm leaving, she said, and turned. Lou took a small step, not blocking, just present. You're free to go once we settle the bill, he said. I can call a car when a valid method's on file. Mia glanced at Lila. Help? Lila's eyes flicked downward, apology without bravery. The towel on Mia's head listed to one side. She yanked it off, hair tumbling, fury showing itself as fluster. At the hospital, Ethan stirred. Dad? His voice was sand. Is she coming? Daniel didn't look at the phone. I asked her to, he said. It was the true answer that cost the least to say. The calendar reminder in Ethan's pocket glowed as the phone shifted. Monday 11 o'clock, Tri-Atlantic Review, bring ID. Daniel could see its reflection on the stainless panel of the 4-pole. Review of what, he thought, the question now louder than patience. He placed his palm on the blanket, one weight over his son's ribs, and chose to wait one more hour. In Soho, Mia's scream shrank into quick, shallow breaths. The lounge settled into a new silence, one that follows a thing breaking that cannot be unbroken. Angela set the form aside. We'll reschedule for the morning, she said. But we'll need you somewhere we can find you. Mia laughed once, brittle glass. You're in my DMs, she said, and reached for a charger that wasn't there. The scream at the spa never reached the ward, but its echo seemed to arrive anyway, as a hush. 12:38 a.m. The city outside the window glowed the color of ice. Daniel shifted in the plastic chair, the weight of his coat over his knees, the paper cup of coffee gone cold on the tray. Ethan stirred. What time is it? Late, Daniel said. Early. The nurse slid in, drew blood with quiet hands, and checked the chart. Vitals are steady. Hydration's working, she murmured. Then, almost like a kindness offered carefully, you can add yourself as guarantor and emergency contact at the desk. It keeps decisions clean. Daniel nodded. I will. When she left, the room settled again. Ethan's phone, tucked into his hoodie pocket, shifted and lit for a heartbeat. Daniel saw the words in mirror gleam off the 4-pole, Monday 11 o'clock, Tri-Atlantic Review, bring ID, before the screen dimmed. He heard himself ask, gently, what's Monday? Ethan blinked, dry-mouthed. Paperwork thing. Mia handles it. New benefits, I think. He winced at the cannula tape on his arm. She said if I could go, good. If not, she'd take my ID. Daniel's jaw ticked once. Why would she need your ID if you're not there? Ethan stared at the ceiling grid, followed a seam. Standard, she said. I don't know. I didn't want to argue. Daniel sat with that. The clock clicked. Somewhere down the corridor, a machine alarm chirped and was silenced. He stood, stretched the ache out of his back, and walked to the window. Snow ran in diagonal threads across sodium-lit streets. He found the kind of clarity only cold glass gives a man bent on making sense. He called Lou, kept his voice low. If the 2 suits are still around, give them my number. Already did, Lou said. They've been sniffing around her for days. Policy review is their phrase. Daniel ended the call and added a line to the notes app he'd opened an hour earlier, a rough ledger more than prose. 11:45 spa appointment 12:07 declines begin. Review Monday plus ID. Card suspended 11:58. Joint card manual verify. He wasn't building poetry, he was building a timeline. He walked to the nurse's station and, with the patient calm of a contractor explaining load-bearing truths, switched the emergency contact to himself and signed to be guarantor. The clerk printed a form for HIPAA disclosures. Do you want to remove the spouse? She asked, neutral. Not yet, Daniel said. Just add me. Back in the bay, Ethan watched him with the embarrassed awareness of a man whose life has been held up to a light. You're thinking something. I'm thinking about Monday, Daniel said. And about how many things we call routine to avoid reading them. Ethan breathed shallow. She's not a villain, he said, as if stating a law he was still trying to believe. She likes nice things. She says it's part of her brand. She says I make her look small when I panic. Do you panic? Daniel asked. Sometimes, Ethan said. But she panics if I'm not useful. Daniel sat again. I added her to a card, he said, plain confession. I told myself I was helping. Maybe I was just avoiding being the man who says no. Ethan's mouth trembled, he swallowed it back. I sign things. On an iPad. She said utilities, autopay, upgrades. I didn't read. I didn't want to fight. Okay, Daniel said. He didn't scold. He let the fact take its shape between them. His phone buzzed with a new number. He stepped into the hallway to answer. Mr. Cole? Angela Patel, Special Investigations, Tri-Atlantic. Security at Isla Blue said you asked for a call. Daniel's eyes flicked to the bay where his son slept. I did. We've flagged an application tied to your son. There's a review Monday. We prefer to verify signatures and disclosures before then. What kind of application? Best to discuss in person, Angela said, careful. We don't want to wake anyone into a panic at 1 a.m. I can meet you here at 8. Daniel weighed the hour, the snow, the half-said things. 8, he agreed. We'll be here. He ended the call and wrote another line in his ledger, 1:06 a.m. SIU to meet at 8. Verify signatures. Don't wake Ethan. He considered calling his lawyer and decided against it. He sent a single line instead, call me at 7. Need to revisit clauses. He returned to the chair. Ethan's face had softened. The four hissed a small, steady promise. Daniel tucked the blanket edge near his son's ribs with a carpenter's exactness, the gesture of a man who fixes what he can touch while he waits to fix what he can't. He looked once more at the four-pole's stainless reflection, at the ghost of the calendar reminder there. Monday, he said under his breath, not as a day but as a hinge. Then he closed his eyes without sleeping, counting breaths to morning. By 7, the ward had the washed-out light of a city waking under salt and slush. A cart rattled. Fresh coffee steamed into thin cups. Daniel's phone vibrated at 7:12. Section 14, Sub C, his lawyer said, voice dry with sleep. Crisis clause. If a spouse causes financial harm or neglect during a documented medical emergency, prenuptial claims are voidable. But don't swing yet. You'll need evidence, timestamps, messages, billing, anyone who witnessed the neglect. Daniel looked at Ethan, color returning, shame still parked behind his eyes. We're collecting, he said, and ended the call. At 8 sharp, Angela Patel appeared at the nurse's station with another investigator, a quiet man who carried a blue binder like a judge's book. Mr. Cole, she asked. I'm Angela. This is Tom. Is there a room where we can talk without disturbing patients? A consult room opened off the corridor, small table, 2 chairs, a box of tissues no one ever grabbed first. Daniel led them in, shut the door, then cracked it as Ethan called, Dad? I'm here, Daniel said, leaving the door ajar. Angela set the binder down and slid on a pair of half-moon glasses. Mr. Cole, the review Monday at 11 is the final verification for a hospital cash and accidental death rider attached to your son's life policy. 2 months ago, an application was submitted electronically. The signatures and initials on sections 3, 7, and 11, she turned the pages, don't match your son's historical samples. Tom rotated a printout so Daniel could see. Side by side, the E and Ethan told 2 different stories. In the left column, his E looped open, a shy tilt. In the right, the E snapped shut, each stroke abrupt, like someone drawing a doorway from memory. People sign differently when they're tired, Angela said calmly, but the slant and pressure are consistent markers. Also, the IP address on the submission tracks to your apartment's Wi-Fi during a time your son's phone geolocation shows him at a client site in Soho. That discrepancy alone isn't proof. With the signature variance, it's a flag. Daniel didn't sit. He braced one palm on the table's edge. Who's listed as beneficiary? Angela turned to another page. Originally, your son listed you as primary and his wife as contingent. The new application flips that, spouse as primary, no contingent. The corridor's hum pressed through the door. Daniel kept his voice even. Does Ethan know? Angela looked toward the opening. He should hear this from you. Or, if he prefers, from me. From me, Daniel said, and stepped into the bay. Ethan was awake, watching the ceiling tiles like they were maps. He read his father's face fast, the way sons do when they've spent a lifetime guessing weather. It's bad, he said. It's specific, Daniel answered. He explained slowly, the application, the writers, the Monday review, the signatures that didn't look like his. When he reached the beneficiary switch, Ethan's mouth softened into a shape that wasn't a word. He looked toward the hoodie pocket where his own ID sat. He didn't reach for it. She said it was family protection, he whispered. She said I don't read things right, that I catastrophize. Do you want to see the pages? Daniel asked. Ethan nodded. Angela stepped closer, introduced herself, and laid the printouts on the tray. We're not accusing you of anything, she said gently. We're verifying before a scheduled review. If this is a miscommunication, we'll document that. If it isn't, we'll document that too. Ethan's finger traced the forged E like he could sand it down. He blinked too fast. I sign like this because my hand shakes sometimes, he said, tapping his real sample. She teases me for it. Says it looks like a kid. Angela didn't write that down, but Daniel did, in his head, under neglect, ridicule. She pointed to a timestamp box. This part matters. The writer triggers a faster payout if hospitalization exceeds 48 hours. Your Monday slot would have fallen just over that threshold if you'd been admitted Friday night. We see people try to accelerate reviews for many reasons. Our job is to make sure disclosures are truthful and consents are real. Ethan's breath hitched. He looked at his father like a man at the edge of a roof looking for a ladder. She told me not to make her look bad by needing her, he said, each word landing like a nail. I thought she was just angry. Daniel set two phones on the tray, his, with the bank alerts, Ethan's, with the spa calendar and the text. He didn't editorialize. He let the lines meet themselves. What happens now? Ethan asked, the question that makes adults of people. Nothing dramatic, Angela said. We'll place a hold on the review, document your statement, and request device logs for the DocuSign envelope. If you consent, we'll collect the message threads. She paused. We may also speak to anyone who encouraged the application. Lila, Ethan said, the name thin with realization. He swallowed. Mia's friend. She helps with brand things. Daniel watched the name move through the room like weather arriving. He felt the plan reorder itself, not just cards and holds, but witnesses and patterns. We'll get the threads, he said, voice steady. All of them. Ethan pressed the heel of his hand to his eyes. When he dropped it, he wasn't smaller. Just clearer. No more iPads, he said. No more just sign. Bring everything here. I'll read it. Good, Daniel said. He reached for the binder without asking, scanned the slanted E again, and filed away the anger for later. Not as heat. As evidence. Angela's binder closed with a soft thud that felt louder than it was. The corridor outside hummed, plastic wheels, soft soles, a distant cough. Ethan stared at the printouts a second longer, then let his head sink back into the pillow, eyes open, blinking slow like someone surfacing from cold water. Daniel's phone lit with his lawyer's name. He stepped half into the consult room but left the door cracked so Ethan could hear. Section 14, sub C again, the lawyer said, now fully awake. Crisis clause. If a spouse's actions constitute neglect or financial harm during a documented medical emergency, prenuptial provisions favoring that spouse can be voided. You can also seek injunctive relief to freeze joint discretionary accounts. But Daniel, don't confront. Accrue. You'll need contemporaneous notes, hospital staff statements, the declined card, the timing of her whereabouts. Understood, Daniel said. Email me the PDF. Seconds later, his phone buzzed with the prenup scan crisp, initials at the bottom of every page, the notary stamp like a circular bruise. He flipped to section 14, C, crisis event and neglect, and read the sentence twice. A contractor checking a beam, wherein a non-hospitalized spouse demonstrates neglect or causes material financial harm during the medical crisis. He exhaled. We build first, we swing later, he said, mostly to himself. Angela watched him read. Collect quietly, she said. We've already placed a hold on Monday's review. I'll need consent to pull message backups and the DocuSign envelope metadata. Ethan nodded, voice rough. Take it. Take all of it. Daniel turned to the nurse's station. Could you note in his chart that the card on file declined at intake, he asked, respectful, and that I assumed guarantor at, he checked the time log, 031? And also that spouse has not presented in person despite notification? The charge nurse, who had seen every kind of family, assessed him quickly and said, we document facts. I'll add what's verifiable. She clicked through fields, the clatter of keys unexpectedly satisfying. Back in the bay, Daniel opened his notes app and made a ledger cleaner than his handwriting ever was on paper. 007, declines begin, alerts. 031, guarantor, contact switched. 043, SIU at spa, Mia present, review Monday. 8 o'clock, SIU meets, signature mismatch, beneficiary switched. 827, consent to collect device logs. He added, prenup section 14, C, applies pending proof. Ethan watched, a mix of relief and humiliation on his face. I don't want to blow up her life if I'm wrong, he said, each word chosen carefully. I loved her. I think a part of me still does. Daniel didn't soften the facts to be kind. Loving someone and letting them bankrupt your life are different sports, he said. We'll let the paper tell us which game we're in. Angela's phone vibrated. My partner just pinged me, she said. Your wife's friend Lila used her gym keycard at 11:10 last night, then spent 22 minutes outside the spa's private wing. We'll request her statement. Friends often talk when they realize they're standing next to a fuse. Ethan's face wavered. She knows everything, he admitted. Lila says she manages the story. Then she knows where the signatures were made, Angela replied. We'll start soft. Daniel called his office manager. 2 things, he said flatly. Audit every vendor charged the last 60 days. Flag anything labeled brand, content, or consult. And set my admin inbox to push notifications, Amex, bank, anything from Tri-Atlantic. He hung up, then dialed the super of Ethan's building. Change the front door code today, he said. New fobs for Ethan only. I'll cover it. Ethan flinched. She'll see that as war. She started the siege when she moved the beneficiary, Daniel said, but not unkindly. He turned the prenup for his son to see. The notary stamped date glowed like a mile marker. We didn't write this for good days. The nurse returned with a form. We charted the declined card and guarantor change, she said. Do you want to limit visitor access? We can't bar a spouse without cause, but we can require staff to call security if interactions become disruptive. Ethan considered, cheeks flushed with the shame of needing protection in your own marriage. Put her on call first, he said. I don't want a scene. Daniel's phone chimed again, email from Tri-Atlantic, review, on hold, device log request initiated. Another ping, Lou, FYI, she left with investigator's card. Looked rattled. Not gone quiet, though, posts paused. Angela tapped her pen. Next steps, I'll interview Lila this afternoon. We'll pull the DocuSign IPs and timestamps. If we see your login used while your phone geolocated elsewhere, that's substantive. If Mia attempted a claim prep during hospitalization, it's worse. Don't tip her. When she reaches out, because she will, let her talk. Don't accuse. Forward us everything. Ethan swallowed. What if she shows up with flowers and a camera? Hold the flowers at the desk, the nurse said. We can keep cameras out of patient areas. Daniel placed the prenup on the tray table like a map, then slid his big hand over the corner to keep it from sliding off. Patience, he said. Collect. Let her write the story we'll read back to her. Angela stood. We'll circle back by noon. The door closed. The room exhaled. On the monitor, Ethan's pulse ticked steadier. He stared at section 14, C, until the legal words turned into simple ones. If you leave me in a crisis and take from me, I owe you nothing you thought you'd get. He looked at his father. Don't swing yet, he echoed, half plea, half promise. Not yet, Daniel agreed. He adjusted the blanket a quarter inch and sat. Outside, a plow scraped First Avenue. Inside, the plan settled into place, not fireworks, not shouting, just switches set and clauses waiting, each consequence hinged to the next. By late morning the snow had turned to gray slush. Ethan dozed in the thin light while Daniel updated his ledger, each line a screw tightened, review on hold. Device logs requested. Visitor policy, call first. At 11:07 a.m., Angela texted, meeting Lila near Soho. We'll update. Across town, a juice bar hummed with blenders and the chatter of people pretending not to watch. Lila slid into a corner booth in a charcoal hoodie, sunglasses pushed into her hair like a defense she'd forgotten to wear. She kept her toad on her lap, fingers worrying the strap. Angela and Tom sat opposite, credentials discreet, voices soft. Thanks for meeting, Angela began. We're trying to prevent a mistake from turning into a crime. Lila let out a brittle laugh. That line sounds rehearsed. It is, Angela said. Because mistakes snowball all the time. Lila stared at the condensation ring her cup was making. Mia said this was normal. Brand people do paperwork hacks. I believed her. She unlocked her phone with a sigh. But last night, when his card died and Lila shook her head. Here. She airdropped a folder, screen recordings, message threads, 2 audio notes. Angela pressed play. Mia's voice filled the tiny corner like perfume, breezy, decisive. If he's admitted 48 hours, the Monday review locks it. Bring your ID, we'll say he's resting. They just check faces and forms. Another, shorter, recorded the afternoon before Ethan collapsed. We should print the marriage license signatures. His hand shakes, mine look cleaner if we have a guide. Lila's own voice answered in the background, uneasy, already regretting. Mia, that's not, the clip cut where a blender roared. Angela's pen paused. Did you help capture or paste his signature? Lila swallowed. She texted me a scan. I said no. I said that's crossing a line. She said lines are for people without followers. Lila's mouth twisted. She asked if fainting counted toward hospitalization. I told her I'm not a lawyer. She said, then don't act like one. Tom scrolled the DocuSign metadata on his tablet. This IP, your apartment lobby's Wi-Fi? Lila nodded. We were coming back from a shoot. She signed on her iPad. She said he gave permission. He wasn't there. Angela slid a consent form over. Will you put that in a statement? Silence stretched, filled with blender noise and a child laughing at something neon. Lila finally nodded, picked up the pen, and wrote slowly. I didn't think it would get this far, she murmured. I thought she wanted the look of security. Not the money. People want both, Angela said, not unkindly. Thank you. Back at the hospital, Angela played the voice notes for Daniel in the consult room, door cracked so Ethan could hear if he wanted. He did. He gripped the blanket at the edges and listened to his wife talk about him like a checkbox. She practiced my signature, Ethan said, voice thin. There was no heat in it, only the chill of something finally named. I told myself she was just organized. Daniel didn't look away. Organized and honest are different traits. Angela forwarded the folder. This is substantial. With the card decline at intake in her absence, Section 14C is no longer theoretical. But I still recommend you let her walk into the next room by herself. She's going to try to reset the narrative. As if cued, Ethan's phone buzzed on the tray. Mia, baby? Are you okay? I'm getting flowers. I'll be there soon. Don't make this dramatic. We can still make Monday. A second message, to Daniel this time, you've humiliated me. Turning off cards is abuse. Undo it now. Daniel forwarded both to Angela and typed nothing back. The nurse, passing, caught the tension without details. We'll hold any deliveries at the desk, she said. If she comes, we'll page you first. Daniel called his lawyer. We have voice notes and a witness. Then you have leverage, came the answer. File the notice to freeze joint discretionary accounts. Don't confront. Let her perform on record. He hung up and added to the ledger, 11:28, Lila's statement, voice notes confirm 48-hour plan and signature prep. 11:34, texts, flowers plus Monday, forward to SIU and council. Across town, Lila leaned against the juice bar's cold window after signing, eyes wet but not performing. He's a good guy, she told Angela quietly. He always said thank you on shoots. Carried the gear. She hated that, called it small energy. I should have spoken up. You just did, Angela said, standing. That may have saved him. At 12:03 p.m., Daniel's office manager called with the audit's first pass. Multiple brand lunch charges overlap your vendor meetings. Same timestamps, same street. Looks like double billing. Document everything, Daniel said. Screenshots, receipts. If there's a refund path, take it. If not, flag for restitution. He returned to the bay. Ethan watched him approach, eyes red but steadier. I let this happen, Ethan whispered. You trusted the wrong person with the right parts of you, Daniel answered. That's not the same as letting. Snowmelt dripped rhythm on the window ledge. The city breathed its dirty winter breath. The plan now had a new weight, a witness, a voice, a clock still ticking toward a Monday that would never arrive the way Mia thought. Daniel closed his ledger and looked at his son, then at the doorway where a bouquet would soon appear without a woman behind it, or with her, camera ready. Let her come, he said softly. Let her say everything she wants to say. Then we'll read it back to her, line by line. The elevator doors parted with a hospital sigh at 1:06 p.m. The charge nurse picked up the desk phone. Mr. Cole, she said into the bay intercom, neutral, your visitor has arrived with a delivery. Do you want her escorted back? Daniel met the nurse's eyes. One of us at a time, he said. No filming. The nurse nodded and set security at the hallway corner. Mia appeared a minute later, boots squeaking faintly, a bouquet of white roses bristling with baby's breath. She had done her face carefully, dewy, lashes lifted, the sheen of someone ready for sympathy. She paused at the threshold, registering the call first sign, the guard, the nurse watching with clipboard ready. Her smile assembled itself. Ethan. Soft, breathy. She crossed the room and lowered the flowers toward him like proof of love. You scared me. Ethan looked at the roses as if they were a test. I texted you last night, he said. His voice was steady. You told me not to make you look bad. Mia blinked, then placed the bouquet in the plastic pitcher beside the bed. Baby, I was at a prepaid event. I couldn't just leave? Daniel finished, voice level. He stood at the foot of the bed, hands in his coat pockets, every movement unhurried. You were at Isla Blue. Mia glanced at him, something sharp showing then smoothing. Your father has always disliked my self-care, she told Ethan, a stage aside. He thinks spa nights are sin. The nurse stepped in gently. Cameras are not permitted, she said, nodding at the phone Mia had tilted in her palm. And we'll hold gifts at the desk after your visit. Mia turned her palm into an open hand. Relax, she murmured, then took Ethan's fingers. How are you feeling? You look tired. Why is there a review Monday at 11? Ethan asked, cutting cleanly. Why do you need my ID if I'm not there? Mia let go like she'd touched a burner. Work benefits, she said too quickly. Open enrollment. It's all routine. HR. Tri-Atlantic Insurance, Daniel said. Special investigations. Angela Patel. He didn't lift his phone. He didn't need to. A brief, involuntary wince passed through Mia's face, as if a hidden stitch tugged. It vanished. They're bureaucrats, she said, a practiced scoff. They love meetings. Daniel looked toward the nurse. Could you note that the spouse references a review unrelated to hospital care? He asked. The nurse's pen moved, not a judge, just a recorder of facts. Ethan slid his own phone from the hoodie pocket and thumbed to the thread. He held it up, not high, just far enough that she had to look. Don't make me look bad by needing me tonight. The words floated in the screen's cool light between them. Mia's eyes flicked to the hallway where the guard waited. We shouldn't involve staff in our private. They're already involved, Ethan said. They caught the card decline. They signed my intake when you didn't come. She tried again, softer, the second draft of the same script. I love you, she said. All of this is pressure. My brand is finally taking off. There are meetings I can't miss, optics I can't ignore. Monday matters because then things get easier for us. For you, Daniel said. For us, she repeated, firmer. Her gaze cut to him. Dan, with respect, your suspicion infects everything. You turned off cards to humiliate me. I turned off cards to stop a leak, he replied. If there's no leak, nothing floods. A long, controlled breath moved through Mia, the kind you take before a camera turns on. She bent, touched Ethan's hair. I brought your driver's license, she said lightly, as if she were rescuing a child who forgot lunch. She patted her tote. If you're too weak Monday, I'll handle it. They said it's okay if the spouse signs. They didn't, Daniel said. And you know it. Silence gathered. Machines ticked. Down the corridor someone laughed at a joke that belonged to a different life. The nurse cleared her throat. We can document any consent or refusal about who handles what, she offered. It helps later. Ethan nodded, never taking his eyes off Mia. Document that I will attend my own reviews, he said. No one else will sign for me. Mia's mouth made a small, incredulous "Oh, you're being cruel," she whispered, tears brightening exactly where they should. After everything I do to keep us seen? Daniel asked. Lila keeps you seen. She also keeps recordings. He watched the name land. It did. Mia's lashes trembled, not with grief. Lila's jealous, she said, grabbing the bouquet and fussing with the cellophane. She wants what I have. She twists. She was with you outside the spa's private wing, Daniel said. She heard you say 48 hours. Mia's hand stilled. Petals shivered in the air conditioning. She placed the roses back on the tray, fingers careful now. I'm going to the restroom, she said evenly. When I come back, we'll talk without this negativity. The nurse pointed to the door. Down the hall, left. Security will accompany you. Mia left in a small flurry of fragrance and fabric. As soon as the door side shut, Ethan exhaled, a sound between relief and grief. She's going to try to reset the story, Daniel said quietly. Let her. Why does it hurt even when you know? Ethan asked. Because knowing is a head thing and hurt is a body thing, Daniel said. They shake hands late. 2 minutes later, Mia returned, calm restored, smile reassembled. I booked a car, she said briskly. I'll swing by Tri-Atlantic now so we can clear the confusion before it spreads. I'll tell them your father is overstepping. You'll tell them whatever you like, Daniel said. They're expecting you. For the first time, a true uncertainty crept into her eyes. She looked from the roses to the men to the door and back, calculating exits. Then she kissed the air near Ethan's cheek, collected her tote, and left with steps a fraction too fast to be unhurried. The bouquet's fragrance lingered, sweet and faintly medicinal. Ethan stared at it until the whiteness blurred. I wanted the flowers to mean something, he said. They do, Daniel answered. They mean you're done mistaking props for love. Tri-Atlantic's lobby smelled like paper and lemon. Mia swept in with a tote and a fixed smile, heels ticking on stone. At reception, she said, review for Mia Cole. My husband's unwell, so I'll sign. Angela met her at the turnstile with Tom at her shoulder. Right this way. A small conference room, frosted glass, a recorder, a carafe of water nobody touched. Mia set her tote down like a prop. We can make this quick. My husband is resting. Angela clicked the recorder. For the record, this is a voluntary verification ahead of your scheduled Monday review. Please state your full name. Mia did, smooth as ad copy. Tom opened the blue binder. Ms. Cole, 2 months ago an application added hospital cash and an accidental death rider to your husband's policy, with a beneficiary change. We need to verify that your husband consented. Of course, Mia said, easy. He signs on iPad. He's not great with forms. Angela slid a printout across, Ethan's old signature sample beside the new. Is this your husband's signature? Mia didn't glance long. Yes. He signs messy. Always has. Tom turned another page, DocuSign metadata, timestamps, IP addresses. These entries came from your building's lobby Wi-Fi while your husband's phone geolocation was in Soho at a client site. Mia's smile pinched. He asked me to help. We're married. Help is not sign, Angela said gently. One more item. A courier just delivered documents from Isla Blue Spa, receipts for last night's services billed to a third-party corporate card, declined at 12:07 a.m. Do those charges belong to your husband's business? Mia's chin lifted. This is harassment. My self-care isn't a crime. Angela didn't argue. She tapped her pen once. Please place your ID on the table. Mia hesitated, then produced it with theatrical patience. Her phone buzzed, she didn't look. Angela did, because the name flashed across the glass, Lila. We've received statements and audio notes from Ms. Lila Hart, Angela said, pressing play. If he's admitted 48 hours, the Monday review locks it. Bring your ID, we'll say he's resting. The room shrank around the sentence. Mia's breath stretched thin. She laughed once, brittle. Girls talk. She's jealous. Tom laid the marriage license scan beside the rider initials. Did you use this to trace your husband's signature? Mia's eyes flicked, that quick animal check for exits. I want a lawyer. You may have one, Angela said, calm as weather. Before you call, you should know we've already contacted NYPD Financial Crimes regarding suspected identity theft and attempted insurance fraud. A knock. Detective Alvarez stepped in with another officer, plain clothes, badge at his belt, posture built for long rooms. Mia Cole? Mia's voice found a new register, soft, wounded. This is a misunderstanding. My husband is ill. His father is controlling. He turned off our cards to humiliate me. Alvarez nodded, not disagreeing, not agreeing. You're not under arrest at this second. We do need a recorded statement. If you choose not to provide one, you're free to leave. But you will not take any action on this policy today. Mia seized the opening. Then I'm leaving. She reached for the tote. Angela slid one last page forward, Ethan's text from the hospital, time-stamped, and the intake note, card on file declined, spouse not present, father assumed guarantor 031. Alvarez's partner set a small evidence bag on the table. Inside, a printed still from Mia's spa checkout, timestamp 12:07 a.m., declined glowing on the terminal. Alvarez's tone cooled a degree. Ms. Cole, based on the forged signature indicators, the beneficiary switch, and corroboration from a cooperating witness, we have probable cause to detain you for questioning. Her hand froze on the toad handle. For a beat, all the edges in her face showed. You can't. The cuffs didn't clang, they clicked, a tidy mechanical truth. She swallowed hard, composure wobbling, then reached for the one script she knew. Call my husband, she said, eyes shining. He'll tell you. He's the one we're protecting, Angela said, gathering the pages. Across town, Daniel's phone buzzed on the tray table beside Ethan's lunch. Angela, detained for questioning. Review cancelled. Hold your line. Daniel read it, then turned the screen so Ethan could see. Ethan's shoulders sagged and squared in the same movement. What now? He asked. Now we finish the paperwork, Daniel said. And we go home when the doctor says. In the conference room, Alvarez read Mia her rights, voice steady. Angela stopped the recorder. The carafe of water remained untouched, condensation settling like a clock. Afternoon bent toward gray when Angela and Detective Alvarez returned to the hospital. They didn't bring drama, they brought forms. In the consult room, the recorder blinked red while Ethan gave a short, halting statement, dates, messages, what he'd been told was routine. His voice frayed only once, on the word beneficiary. He steadied himself, stared at the table, and finished. Alvarez clicked the recorder off. Ms. Cole has been processed and issued a notice to appear, he said evenly. Her phone is in evidence. Financial Crimes will coordinate with the insurer on the forged signatures. Ethan nodded like a man learning to stand on a boat. What do I do now? Finish getting well, Alvarez said, then to Daniel, and don't answer provocation. We prefer screenshots to yelling. Angela slid a single-page letter across. The Monday review is cancelled. We've placed a hold on the writer. With your consent, we'll pull the DocuSign device logs and your cloud backups today. Ethan signed, hand shaking, then stilled it on the paper until the signature looked like his again. In the hallway, Daniel took a call from his lawyer on speaker so Ethan could hear. We're filing for injunctive relief to freeze joint discretionary accounts, the lawyer said. The hospital's documentation of the declined card and spousal absence strengthens Section 14(c). Next, move emergency contacts and insurance authorizations out of her reach. Already in motion, Daniel said. We'll need a locksmith and a new building code. The super's on it, the lawyer replied. He sent a photo of the keypad with a new sticker. Fobs coded to Ethan only. A nurse slipped in with a clipboard. Visitor note updated, she said. Spouse must call first. Security notified. She looked at Ethan. You're allowed to say what you need, no cameras, no recording, no posting. We'll back you. Ethan managed a thanks. He watched his father open the Amex portal, remove the last lingering wallet token, then call the bank to confirm the holds. The sequence calmed him, each click was a valve shutting, a leak sealed. At 3:19 p.m., Lila texted Angela a final file, an audio note from the day before the collapse. If he stays 2 nights, it's golden, Mia's voice said, casual, efficient. Monday locks it. Don't spook him. Angela forwarded it. Daniel read it twice, then placed the phone face down and let the sentence sit between them like an exposed wire. Mia's first call came an hour later from a blocked number. Daniel let it ring into voicemail. The transcript bled onto the screen in broken lines. You're destroying my life. Tell your father to stop, this is abuse. I was securing us, call me back now. Ethan reached for the phone, then pulled his hand back as if the glass were hot. She'll say anything that keeps the spotlight where she needs it, Daniel said. We're not the audience. Evening made a blue rectangle on the floor. The attending came by with labs. Good response to fluids, she said. Heart and kidneys look fine. If you tolerate dinner, we'll discharge late morning. Relief and dread moved through Ethan in the same breath. Going home meant facing home. Daniel called his office manager again. Refunds? 2 vendors have agreed to reverse duplicate charges, she said. We found a fake consultant invoice routed to a personal PayPal. I've frozen the payables queue. Document every reversal, Daniel said. We'll need totals for restitution. He returned to the bay as the sky turned metallic. Ethan picked at hospital chicken, ate enough to satisfy the nurse, then pushed the tray away. Was I stupid? He asked quietly. You were tired and wanted peace, Daniel said. She offered an unsubscription. Ethan closed his eyes. I ignored so many small things. The way she winced at my signature. The way she joked about small energy when I carried equipment. He opened them again. I kept thinking if I worked harder, she'd stop needing proof that I wasn't failing her. Daniel took a long breath. When your mother was sick, I learned the difference between love and performance. One shows up, one posts. I forgot that when I added her to the card. That part's on me. The charge nurse stopped by with a stapled packet. Discharge checklist for the morning, she said. Sign here to confirm contact changes. Social work circled resources if you want counseling. Ethan signed slowly, likeness steady now. He glanced at the packet's last page, who to call first in a crisis, and wrote his father's number in block print. Daniel pretended not to see and saw everything. Night deepened. The ward quieted to soft rubber soles and distant laughter at a nurse's station joke. Somewhere, a TV muttered behind a curtain. Ethan slept in fits, waking to drip changes and vitals. Each time he opened his eyes, Daniel was there in the plastic chair, big hands folded, jaw working the way it did when he was measuring twice. Near midnight, a light fluttered under the door, a bouquet delivery tag, rerouted to the desk per the note. White roses. From Mia. The nurse pinned the slip to the chart, untouched. Consequences had learned to walk on their own. Daniel thumbed his ledger one last time, added the day's final lines, review cancelled, device logs consented, Lila corroborates, injunction filed, discharge 11 a.m., then slid the phone away. He looked at his son, at the 4-line that was almost done with its slow, patient work. Tomorrow, he said softly, not to hurry it, only to mark it. We go home. Outside, plows sang their low metal song along First Avenue. Inside, nothing dramatic happened, no shouting, no slamming doors, just forms signed, locks changed, switches flipped, and a father who refused to let anger speak louder than proof. The night held. Morning waited on the other side of it, bright and cold. Morning cut clean through the ward. The nurse loosened the tape, slid the 4 from Ethan's arm, and pressed gauze with 2 careful fingers. Fluids did their job, she said. Discharge at 11. She handed him a stapled packet, follow-ups, contacts, a line that read emergency contact, Daniel Cole in block print. Angela appeared in the doorway with coffee and quiet news. The writer's frozen. Device logs confirm your phone wasn't used on the application. Lila signed a full statement. Financial Crimes has your wife on notice to appear. She met Ethan's eyes. You did the brave thing, slow and documented. Daniel signed the last hospital form as guarantor. His phone buzzed, order granted, temporary injunction from his lawyer, joint discretionary accounts frozen, records preservation in place. Another buzz from his office manager, refunds posted, duplicate charges reversed, consultant PayPal flagged. Every ping sounded like a valve closing. They stepped into a white noon. The city smelled of salt and bus brakes. At Ethan's building the keypad blinked a new code, the super had taped a fresh label. Inside, the apartment felt staged, ring light by the window, a stack of brand boxes waiting to be unboxed, a marble tray of perfumes arranged like trophies. On the dining table lay a thin folder labeled in Mia's neat print, Policy. Ethan hesitated, then flipped it open. Photocopies of their marriage license. A printout of his signature enlarged, faint pencil hash marks showing where someone had sketched a guide. A sticky note, Monday, bring ID. Don't forget lashes at 9. He closed the folder and set it down as if it were warm. He moved through the rooms like a person walking back through a dream. The bedroom still carried her citrus scent, the closet her architecture, color-blocked dresses, cameras on shelves. He stopped at the ring light and touched the dimmer. The circle glowed and flattened his face into someone easy to read. He clicked it off. The room felt truer. Daniel's phone chimed again, this time an email chain forwarded from the office manager. Subject, Contract Morals Clause, Immediate Termination. Brand Legal had received the packet Daniel queued at dawn. SIU letter, police case number, duplicate billing proofs. Replies stacked quickly, collaboration paused pending outcome, then effective immediately. We're terminating the agreement under Section 9(b). One brand asked for a return of unspent advances, another demanded removal of sponsored posts within 24 hours. A platform safety team wrote that the account was temporarily demonetized while identity theft allegations were reviewed. Ethan read over his father's shoulder. The messages weren't gloating, they were surgical. You didn't just turn off cards, he said, voice small and clear. You turned off the room. I sent the paper to the people who rented the room to her, Daniel replied. They don't like fires. A knock rattled the door, 3 practice taps. Daniel looked through the peephole. Mia stood in a winter coat, no camera now, hair scraped back, eyes bright with a different kind of performance. Ethan, she called, soft. Let me in. We can fix this. They're overreacting. Your father is poisoning everyone, brands, insurers. Daniel opened the door on the chain. No cameras. No yelling. We'll keep it simple, he said. She spotted the folder on the table and paled a shade. You went through my things. His apartment, Daniel said. His policy. Her phone lit in her hand, notifications blooming and dying. She saw a subject line, contract termination, and another, account limited, and the pitch of her breath changed. You destroyed my career, she whispered, like a fact she wanted to float and watch them drown under. Ethan stepped to the doorway. He had no lines rehearsed, just a body that had learned in 2 nights what tolerance costs. You tried to sign for me, he said, steady. You told your friend not to spook me. You planned a payout if I stayed sick 2 days. He nodded at the folder. Those pencil marks are straight. That doesn't mean what you did is. Tears slicked her eyes, perfect and useless. You never understood pressure, Ethan. I carried us. I made us visible. I did what I had to so we wouldn't fall back. You pushed me until I fell, he said. Then you scheduled a meeting. She reached for the space between the door and the chain. Let me in, she said, softer. We can talk without your father. We'll talk with lawyers, Daniel said. And with Angela. And with the court that granted the injunction this morning. Mia's mouth trembled, then hardened. You're going to regret this, she said, but it lacked the glow that made threats look like prophecy. It sounded like a sentence she'd borrowed. She adjusted her bag, eyes flicking down at a last notification, another brand email, and left without slamming anything, the only quiet exit she'd ever practiced. The door closed. The apartment exhaled. Outside, a siren traced a quick line through traffic and was gone. Daniel unhooked the chain and leaned his forehead against the wood for one long breath. Ethan set the ring light on its side and unplugged it. I thought revenge would feel loud, he murmured. It's plumbing, Daniel said. You find leaks. You turn valves. You show inspectors the wet drywall. He looked at his son. And you start fixing what rotted because no one wanted to look. They spent the afternoon doing modest, declarative things, removing Mia's thumbprint from the front door app, forwarding mail holds, calling his doctor to confirm follow-ups, opening a new bank account with 2 signatures required for transfers. Angela texted a final note, case logged, review canceled, witness protected. The lawyer sent a calendar invite for a petition hearing. The super dropped off a spare fob and a stack of blank name labels for the mailbox. Small tools, big repairs. As the light went thin and gold on the far wall, Ethan brewed tea in a pan because the kettle had belonged to her. He carried 2 mugs to the window. They stood there, not talking for a minute, watching the city throw on its evening jewelry. "Did you destroy her?" Ethan asked finally. Daniel thought of the spa scream, the pencil hash marks, the emails dropping like switches. He shook his head. "No," he said. "I just turned off the lights." Ethan let out a breath that smelled like heat and relief. He held the mug with both hands and watched the street. There would be court and paperwork and the ache of empty rooms. There would be therapy and sleep and new habits. But the hum that had lived in his body, constant, anxious, begging, had quieted to something he could hear himself think over. In the fading window, their reflections stood side by side, a man who measured twice and cut once, and a younger man learning both. The city kept moving. The room held. And for the first time in a long time, nothing performative asked to be fed.